Everyone. Calling the Southborough Board of Health meeting to order at 9:30 on Tuesday, September 5th. All board members are present. We also have Liz Leiden from Town Council joining us, as well as Michael Seeger, who's our food and housing inspector. So this is a one-item agenda this morning, and I appreciate you taking time to add an additional meeting for this. And I'll just give a little bit of background, and I'll let Heather and Michael kind of jump in, or Liz if they have anything else to add. So beginning to mid-July, Heather had reached out to me because we received a complaint on for 200 Southville related to a concern that somebody was living in a trailer on that property, and that it had did not have the sanitary requirements for that trailer. So Heather and I met with Liz to understand kind of the process, because most of the time that we get housing complaints, Michael and Heather kind of tag team on working with the homeowner, whether it's a landlord or the actual owner, to remedy the situation. And we usually don't get to this point of having to bring it to a public meeting. The staff are usually able to rectify it. And in this case, there had actually been a communication to the landlord last November by the building department because of the temporary housing concern and the fact that there was no approval of that temporary housing situation. So building submitted a letter to the homeowner and to my understanding, there has been no further communication between building and the homeowner, and there was no acknowledgement from the homeowner to building department. So Heather and I met with Liz mid-July, and we talked through what the process was to address it. And we drafted a letter to go to the homeowner. We sent it certified, just alerting him to the fact that there had been a complaint about the temporary housing situation there, and that we'd like him to reach out to us to explain what any of the sanitary disposal setup was for the housing situation. So that was sent and received, and we did not get any communication back from the homeowner. So the next step in this is that Michael went out with Heather and took pictures on 2 separate occasions from an abutter's property, and identified a hose to the trailer, which is indicative of needing running water. And the second thing is on the exterior of the trailer, there is an addition that was built onto the trailer, which is also indicative of somebody potentially living there. And I'm just going to pull up those pictures so that you can, so Michael did a nice job of getting those and circling those actual areas so that it's very clear. So if you just give me 1 second, I will pull that up. Can you guys all see that? Yes. Okay. So this is you can see the hose kind of on top of the rock and then going into the trailer. And then on the left side is the addition that you can see from the exterior. So I'm just going to show you a backed out picture of that piece too. So you can see the Tyvek kind of barrier there. So those are the 2 pieces that we're concerned with, that somebody is living there or using it as a temporary housing, and per Mass General Law, that is not allowed without written consent from the Board of Health. So the next step then was to have this meeting and invite the homeowner to come and explain what the trailer is being used for, how often somebody's staying there, and what kind of sanitary disposal. They have to be tied into a septic system or to a private wastewater treatment system or sewer, and we don't have sewer. So that was what the ask was in the letter. You all received a copy of the letter. I do not see that he is present in the audience, but I will ask Heather, Michael, or Liz if what I missed in that kind of synopsis.
Elizabeth Leiden, Town Council. No, I think that my concern when this was first brought was that we needed some kind of concrete evidence to point to that there was in fact somebody living there. And I think that those pictures are sufficient so that if the board would like to bring this to court to get this rectified, they could vote to do so and request permission from the select board to go forward. And we would gather, this would be combined with the building violations as well. So I think the next step would be to have the zoning enforcement officer, building inspector also do a visit and put everything together in one complaint.
Yeah, I think things are pretty much covered, Chelsea, that you discussed. And we did also get the return receipt on this second letter, the letter for the call for this hearing. So that was received. We got the return receipt. I think, from my perspective and Liz, right, with this combined and sort of next steps, at this point, we didn't feel we had ability to, investigate, sort of knock on the door, see if someone was at the trailer or go on site. So I guess from our perspective and perhaps from zoning, what is the perspective on kind of next steps and how logistically would we approach the owner, being that we're not getting anywhere this way, or approach the trailer?
I'll be happy to do an on-site visit with the zoning inspector or with the zoning enforcement officer anytime that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you. Liz, Safdar, what are your thoughts on this?
So just so I understand the process, obviously the need is there. So the first step is to have a zoning inspector go out with Michael. Is that the first step before? And if they refuse that, then what is the next? I guess I just want to know the steps and how it's going to work. Just
clearly, and maybe explain that zoning. I mean, for those who don't know, like the Southborough Town zoning bylaw.
So there is a zoning bylaw that prohibits someone from living in a trailer for longer than, I forget how many days.
30 days they have to be permitted.
Yeah. So beyond that, it's a zoning violation. I assume that there are also building code violations associated with somebody living in a trailer for an extended.
There's a few different provisions that allow for 30 to 90 days, but nothing beyond that, depending on certain circumstances.
So then we would try to get in for an inspection and then issue a violation notice to the homeowner stating all of the complaints combined in one letter for all of the violations. And then if they don't respond to that, and you could issue fines and then take it to court.
So, and I'm generally not in favor of getting in the middle of neighborly disputes here. But if I take a step back, and if somebody really is living there in those type of concerning conditions that at least it looks like from the outside, that's kind of where I put my Board of Health hat on and say, we got tipped off to this. This could impact somebody's health and safety. or the environment for that matter.
Right,
And-
with the waste disposal, yeah,
Yeah, and
other people.
I'm not so that's why I brought it to the board, because I wasn't comfortable making a decision on my own on this, but I also felt like it's our obligation to make sure that the people who live in this town do have the minimum requirements for sanitation. And I think that's the role of this board. I can't control what building has done or hasn't, isn't doing. But I would hope that they would have kind of the same concern that at least I do, and hopefully the rest of the board does, that we need to make sure that if somebody is living there, that it is a safe environment.
Yeah, that was my goal, is how we vote is really just on the sanitation issue and the health and safety of the tenants, not to really be involved in all the other stuff that's going to go on in the background. Like, our role is that, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then the vote that you would take is to refer it to town council to pursue legal action.
Liz, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Just remind me of the timeline here, just date wise one more time. Like it was first notified.
Yeah. So from my understanding, building was notified last fall, and then they issued a letter in November of 22. And then change in building inspector. So there was a vacancy for quite some time. They do have a part-time building inspector there who actually issued the initial letter in November. But I just don't think that there was any follow-up after that. And then beginning of July, and Heather probably knows the date that we received the complaint.
Right, and I believe the complainant tried again with building in June, I believe, somewhere I have the dates, and then they were referred to Board of Health.
Okay.
In July.
Yep. So my
So first letter was sent out, I think the week of July 17th. And we asked the homeowner to respond within 2 weeks. And
Right.
we got the receipt back saying that that he received it. And then we sent out the second letter the week of 8/14 or around 8/14. And I wanted to make sure we gave at least 2 weeks notice for when we were going to have this meeting. We didn't have to do that, but I just wanted to make sure that there was ample time for the homeowner to be able to either respond, because that's really what we were looking for, and not have to have this public meeting, or to come to the meeting and be able to explain the situation.
Okay.
And Liz and Seftar, just so you know, in Southborough, sort of the building and the zoning officer is the same, or it's out of the same office at a building.
Yep.
And it's the zoning that has the bylaw for town about needing to permit a trailer that's used for more than 30 days.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
And it's not consecutive 30 days. It's 30 days throughout the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to add? Okay, so I'm going to, if Liz and Safdar, you're comfortable with me making a motion? Okay, so I move that the Southborough Board of Health request of town council to pursue appropriate action for the potential temporary housing violation at 200 Southville Road.
And I second the motion, vote aye. Medina?
And I vote aye. Zulik.
And Malinowski's aye. Okay. Liz, that's okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right, that's all we had for this morning, unless anybody else has anything else they want to say before we adjourn. Okay, again, thank you. And thanks, Liz, for joining in, Michael. I appreciate it. And I am going to adjourn the Southborough Board of Health meeting at 9:45 a.m.
I second the motion and vote aye.
And then aye. Zulik.
And Malinowski's aye. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.